Merry Christmas and welcome to worship. We're sitting here by the fire, and we hope that you too are sitting by the fire together as we celebrate the coming of Christ. Today, as we begin worship, we have an amazing arrangement by our own minister of music, Tom Trenny. It came upon a midnight clear as a duet. Listen.
It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their harps of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to all, from heaven's all gracious King. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. Yet with the wars of sin and strife, the world has suffered long. Beneath the heavy hymn that rolled 2,000 years of wrong, and we, entrenched at war, hear not the love song that they bring. Oh, hush the noise and end the strife, to hear the angels sing. For lo, the days are hastening on by prophets seen of old, when with the ever-circling years shall come the time foretold, when peace shall reign over all the earth, its ancient splendors fade, and the whole world gives back the song which now the angels sing, which now the angels sing.
Wasn't that song beautiful, so peaceful? Well, here we are by the fireside, and we're going to share some Christmas thoughts. And my first thought is about the shepherds. They're just doing their normal job, out there at night taking care of the sheep, and the miraculous comes upon them. And I'm thinking this Christmas, so many of us can feel like our lives are mundane, or we're just in a workaday routine. And I'm hoping in some way the miraculous dawns upon you this year, maybe at an unexpected moment.
One of the things that I've been thinking a lot about, this past week, we were together with the choir and our ministers of music at the prison. And there was so much there, Jim, about life and choices we make and things that happen in our lives. But at some point, as we were singing together, just traditional carols, I looked out and the joy that these guys had within them, you could see glassy eyes. In that moment, I was inspired by what beauty can do. The beauty of choir singing, the beauty of music itself with the piano and the rhythms of a drum, but also the beauty of community gathered together on that moment. And for that one moment, these guys experienced a kind of humanity that I hope all of us experience. So I hope, like those folks long ago who saw angels and saw a baby, those are things of beauty, aren't they? May beauty inspire you to experience Christ, the humanizing power of Christ for all people. Yes, even for you.
Oh my, I was talking about the miraculous coming into the mundane, but you just spoke about the miraculous breaking into the grinding and the horrible suffering.
Yeah, the gritty.
When the beauty came into that.
Yes.
You know, it's so wonderful you went with the choir to offer a service at the prison. Tell me, your father was a prison chaplain. Were you thinking of him that day?
Oh my gosh, yes. So one of the interesting things that my father, he's built as a local church pastor. So even as a chaplain, the way he entered the space. So one of the things I did there at Jim was what we do on Sunday mornings. What do? We go pew by pew, we greet folks, and we check in on them. So that was quite a moment, pastoral moment, right? Yeah. And I remember my dad who often reminded me that these folks who were in this circumstance were beloved ones of God. And that the church should be right there with them along the way. So that was quite powerful.
Boy, you know, I've offered religious services as well in prisons through the years, and there's something so powerful because they get a break from being in their cells, and when they come for service, they are ready to receive.
Yeah, there's a hunger for connection and community there.
So, you know, Christmas for me is also a time of memories. And I hope you're having some beautiful memories about Christmas past and prior years in your life. What I'm thinking of right now are the churches that I served and my experience of Christmas at these different churches. The first church that I served was in Newport Beach, California, Community Church of Corona del Mar, right near the ocean. And it was my first Christmas as a minister. And I remember reading the scriptures that night, you know, in Matthew 1 and 2 and Matthew 2 and Isaiah. And suddenly, the magic of scriptures opened up for me. I loved the Bible by that point already, but there was a type of majesty and mystery to those Christmas scriptures. You know, it occurs to me that in America we're offered primarily two basic ways to read the Bible. One by more evangelical folks to take a plain reading, to just read what it says literally, a plain direct reading. But then by Christians like us, the mainline Protestants, we tend to go to a more intellectual reading and using historical criticism and all the historical information that places it in context and the scholarship around those passages. I don't think those are the two best options. I tried to engage in a spiritual reading to see in what way is it speaking to me symbolically and spiritually and metaphorically, and where history and plain reading comes all together into something beyond. Does that make any sense?
Oh, the thing that came to my mind was poetry. I love poetry, and often, sometimes I even approach the text, whether it's narrative or poetic itself, it is a play of words, a coming together of me and this text before me. That's how I love, again, like you, I'm uncomfortable with these extremes. I kind of like this play. There's a genre of literature in Latin America called magical realism.
Oh, yes.
And that really informs my way of approaching the text, keeping some of the mystery that's there, right? I don't have to figure it out.
Don't have to figure it out.
Yeah.
That's what I experienced that Christmas night. I wasn't trying to figure anything out. I was receiving its beauty, like you spoke.
And what that has done for me over the years, it's what you encounter that day, is that there are these moments, sometimes a text that I've read a gazillion times just strikes me in such a powerful way.
So I hope you were touched by the Christmas scriptures this year. The next church I served was in Concord, Massachusetts. And I actually lived in the parsonage right on the church grounds. So just about 15 feet away in a home right next to the church. And that first Christmas Eve there, I felt like I was holding services essentially at my house. And so it actually felt to me like a party I was hosting. And it was such a lovely feeling. I lived there, and then people were all coming. I hope you don't have to throw that big and complex of a party, but that sense of folks gathering at home.
Yeah, that community.
Yeah.
And I think for many of our folks who are still at home, like those who might be watching right now, I hope you too get a sense that we're with you in this moment. You're gathering community. We're with you. The church is with you in this moment. The Christ child right there with you, bringing hope and joy.
The next church I served was in San Mateo, California. And the first Christmas Eve, I had a beautiful experience. We had a relationship with a local synagogue, and we would hold their high holy services at the church in our sanctuary. I mean, we would host them as they held those. But then on Christmas Eve, a group of the Jewish folks from the synagogue would come down and take care of all of our children and babies during our Christmas Eve services. And they would host that for us. And the delight I saw in them to just be there with us that night, helping us have our high holy day. And there's something about Christmas, I hope, that can bring together a sense of unity across religion and across all differences.
I hope so too. I hope so too.
And so, my friends, we hope that this is a beautiful, a spiritual, a peaceful, and a uniting Christmas for you.
We wish you a Merry Christmas, and may God bless you in ways beyond belief. We love you.